Now, before we dive in, let me make one thing very clear. No computers are harmed in this process. This lecture is purely educational purposes only. The goal here is to understand how vulnerabilities like this work, so we can learn how to protect systems and improve security. And always remember to only test exploits in a lab environment, in a controlled lab environment, like the one you see here on the side. Yep, that's the lab environment we set up. Yeah, always test your exploits in a controlled lab environment where you have permission to do so. Now, building on the earlier information we just gained, now let's go to Firefox and of course open the VPN here. Argentina. Yep. Yeah. Here we will today we will target the vulnerability called that has in the Calibre server, content server. It is CVE 6782. Now, Calibre version from 6.9.0 through 7.14 have a critical vulnerability that allows remote code execution. So this means an attacker can run their own commands on the system without needing to log in using Calibre's content server. The problem happens here because the content server doesn't properly check the incoming request. It processes parts of the request as if they were safe, letting attackers trick the server into running harmful code. Now, according to information I found online, you can see here the issue here was supposed to be fixed in version 7.14, or at least 7.15 here. However, in reality, it is not fixed. During my testing, I discovered that this exploit works perfectly fine even in version 7.15, which is concerning since users might believe that their system is secure when in reality it isn't. Now, to stay safe, it is important to not only update to the latest version, but also take extra precautions, such as limiting access to the content server or using a firewall until a proper fix is confirmed. All right, now let's get started. We are starting up our Windows 11 virtual machine. This is my trusty lab, where I usually record lectures for my software-defined radio course. But unfortunately, it is just a regular Windows 11 setup, like the one you might have on your own computer. Now let's hop into Google and hunt down that specific version of Calibre we need. Now, Calibre 7.15.0. Yeah. Now we will download it for the Windows. It also this vulnerability also includes in Linux, Apple macOS, and portable installer. And yep, now we are installing. So actually, in reality, I actually have separate one installed. So this is the same file, the same download file, and yep. No, we need to start it again. Yep. Yeah. Here it might take 40 seconds. Now go back to the Linux here. And yeah, let's search the Calibre in MSF console. Now you can see the excellent rank, which is what we want. Calibre Python code injection has the description. It also works on Windows Fetch, Linux, yep. and that is what we want here. Now specifically we will use this module. Now after starting the Metasploit, run the command use exploit multi-misc Calibre exec, and let's show options. Yeah, this tells Metasploit here to use a specific module designed to exploit vulnerability in Calibre's content server. The multi part here, this multi part here means it can work across different platforms. And the MISC here indicates it is a general purpose exploit. Now, we need to set a target host and IP addresses. Now, since it is on the local, or let's get the IP address of our. By the way, this is remote code execution. So this might be in my local network, but this exploit will perfectly fine with the remote IP address that's connected to internet as well. Let's get the IP address of this Windows machine with this IP config command. Now you can see it ends with 131, and now we will set the target host, set our hosts. I think it's downloaded, but before setting that, let's go to Windows machine and install that specific version of Calibre here. Run, accept, yes. Launch. And this is what Calibre is. This is ebook reader. You will press on connect and share, start connect to content server, and that's it. Now we have installed the remote code execution vulnerability in our Windows 11 machine, which is good for lab testing, but not for general use. Right now, we will set our host to our IP address. No, not our IP, to the target IP address, 192.168.152, and as I remember, it was 131. Here show options. You can see we have set our hosts. We will leave the default our port because Calibre uses this 8080 port as the content server. And now you also need to choose the payload, but in this course we can also use the default payload, so don't worry. And let's also real-time protection, so we won't have any problem with running on the system. And now we will set the we will also set the payload to fight a Meterpreter. If this won't work, we will choose the default payload here. So Meter, or no, we have good payload here. We will leave the payload as default. And now here we will set the Kali Linux machine IP address and port. You can see we need to set the L host, and we will leave the L port by default, as default. Now set L host 92.168. Remember what was our 132, 152, 131, 152, 132, 132, and here. That's it. Now, before pressing any enter or exploit, I want to do a little explanation of the options we have in this exploit. Now, let's clear it. Show options. Oops, sorry. Here. Now you can see here the proxies, the module options, proxies. So this is not required, but this allows you to route your traffic through a proxy chain useful for anonymizing or bypassing network restrictions during testing. Now, for example, you can specify type host port like in this format for a proxy. Now we also have the R hosts. This is the IP address of the target machine where the vulnerable Calibre instance is running. So you must specify the correct IP to ensure the exploit is directed to the right system. And our port here, this is also required. Now the port on the target machine where the Calibre content server is running. The default port 8080 is 80 unless the target machine didn't specifically change it, but in this case you can also find the default port. So even if the target user changed the default port, it is still vulnerable because it has nothing to do with ports. It is still it has to do with the handling of request of the Calibre program. Now we also have the SSL option here. This is current setting is false. This is not required to set on true. Now this determines if the SSL TLS should be used for outgoing connections. If the server is configured with HTTPS, you need to set this to true. And we also have the vhost. This specifies a virtual host name of the HTTP server uses virtual hosting. Now this is useful if the target server expects a specific host name in the HTTP request. And in the payload options here, we have the exit function. The current setting is set to the process. It is required to set to something. This controls how the payload exits after execution. Now we have the SEH, thread, process, and none, since we are using process as default. Now process here exits cleanly by killing the process, but SHE, thread, and none, these are the other exit techniques for specific scenarios. And we also have the fetch command, specifies the command used to fetch the payload on the target machine. This the curl here uses the curl command to download the payload. We also have the TFTP and certutil. TFTP here uses trivial file transfer protocol, and certutil here is the command for fetching files, which is this uses the certutil command for fetching the files. Now we also have the delete, which is currently set to files. This is required to set to files. That determines whether the delete payload after execution. Now you can set this to true if you want the payload to self-delete after running, which you might need in some cases, but in this case we will leave it as false. Fetch file name we also have here. It is the name of the payload stored on the target system. If not set, a random name is used like this. The file name must not contain spaces or slashes like you can see here. The fetch server host, fetch server port we have here. This is the local IP address used to serve the payload file to the target. This is usually your Kali machine's IP, but you are not required to set this. And yeah, SRV port is the local port on your Kali machine that serves the payload to the target. It should match to the fetch command tool's expectations. Yep, we have URI-path and writable there. This URI-path here, if you are serving the payload over HTTP, you can specify a custom URI path for the payload, like the payload.exe or something else. And yep, we have writable directory and set to temp. Let me fix my camera a little bit here. Yep. Here. So here you can see the writable there. This is a writable directory on the target machine where the payload file will be stored. Now the temp is commonly used as it's almost always writable. And the L host here, we just set that. This is the IP address of your Kali Linux machine, where the reverse shell connection will be sent through from the target. Now you can use your internal or external IP depending on the setup. In this setup, we use the internal IP. And yep, we also have the L port, which is set to 4444, the port on your Kali machine that will listen for the reverse shell connection. Now, port 4444 is commonly used, but can change if needed. And yeah, we can also see the exploit target here, ID 0 and Windows fetch. This exploit targets Windows systems by using fetch commands to download and execute a payload. Now this setup ensures that exploit is configured correctly to the target vulnerable instance, deliver the payload, giving you a Metasploit session if successful. Now you can also ask me in this course question and answer site if you have any questions or you need further clarification or additional details. Yeah, that's it. Now we will run this exploit, and yeah, the exploit is run. There's the CMD just opened for the sec and then closed it automatically. We did nothing in this computer. And here we gained this Metasploit session. Now once the exploit is successful, you will have a reverse shell or Metasploit insertion on the target system. Now from there you can explore the system, proving how dangerous this vulnerability can be if left unpatched. But as the latest version of Calibre, they patched this version, so there's no vulnerability if you download and update to the latest version. Now here we will now that we have successfully gained access to the target system using the Calibre vulnerability, it is time to explore what we can do post-exploitation. In this lecture, we will also look at how to gather information, monitor activity, and interact with the target system. Now, as always, let me remind you that everything we are doing here is with a controlled lab environment for educational purposes only. Now, let's check the system information. The first thing we will do is gather basic details about the system we have accessed. Now, think of this as taking a quick inventory of what we are dealing with. Now, we will do sysinfo, and yeah, computer is phone, Windows 11, 64, workgroup logged on users is 2. We can see whether it is a 32-bit or 64-bit system architecture. We can see the host name of the machine and the operating system version. In this case, it is Windows 11. Now, understanding the system's configuration helps us decide our next steps. And for example, knowing the operating system version might point to the other vulnerabilities, or the host name might give us idea of the system's role within the network. Now, here we can also do another log the keystrokes like the keylogger. Now we can start the keylogger in Metasploit session with this key scan start. Did you mean? Yeah, key scan start, and yes, starting the keystroke sniffer. Now let's go to auxiliary.com vp admin here, get the admin passwords of our yep, here this is our website. Yeah, auxiliary admin. Here, yeah, That's it. Now with this key scan stop, we can stop the keystroke sniffer, keylogger, and with this scan key scan dump, incorrect. This usually didn't. Let's key scan start, key scan dump. Admin. Yo, before dump the key scans before stopping it. Yep. My. That's it. And here you can see shift, my very important admin password. We can also see the shift tabs and so on. Yeah, this is the keylogger. Now the key scan start command begins recording every keystroke made. Oops, sorry for this. Sorry, baby. Yep. This happens sometimes. Yeah, this key scan start command begins recording every keystroke made on the target system. Now, once we have captured enough data, we can use key scan stop to stop the process and key scan dump to display the captured information. Now, keystroke logging can reveal sensitive information and like usernames, passwords, or even private messages. This is especially useful. In scenarios where credentials are needed for further access. Yep, we can also do another things like exploring files. Now, once inside, we will want to look for valuable information stored on the system. Now, this could be documents, configuration files. This could be documents, configuration files. Or any valuable information stored in the system. Now, in order to display the current directory, we will use pwd to list files and folders, ls to list files and folders, pwd to display the current directory we are working with, and we can also download the files like download oxley.com. In this state, the system cannot find the file specified. Yeah, in this case, it probably will download the HTML file, directory over label. Yeah, we can also download files further. Now, the sensitive documents or configurations files might contain critical information like saved credentials, financial records, or network details. Now we can also go to see the users last ls say the desktop clear hacked. Now here, if we go back to here, now you can see we have created a folder named hacked. Yeah, that's one way to tell the user that we have hacked into the system. Yeah, and we can also capture the screenshots. There's a great way to understand what's happening on the target machine is capturing a screenshot of the active desktop screenshot, and you can see that. And now let's go to the file home Kali. It's on the main directory, and this is the screenshot. I didn't like the quality, but it is readable. Yeah, uh, that's it. And I don't have the webcam. I have the webcam you can see here, but it is not the kind of webcam you will see in this real life. It is just a phone. Now we can also take the snapshot of the webcam with webcam list. Now you can't see no webcams were found, so if we take the snapshot of webcam with this, we will get an error. Target does not have a webcam. Now with this webcam list command identifies any connected webcams on the system. Now if one is available, webcam snap captures an image using the webcam, of course. And now here this can help identify the user for ethical purposes, like to identify me. You can see me. Yeah, this helps identify user or location of the compromised machine, useful in investigative scenarios, of course, for ethical purposes only. Yeah, that's it. Post-exploitation is where we see the real power of access in a controlled environment, whether it is gathering information or monitoring activity or interacting with the files and devices. These techniques highlight the risk of leaving vulnerabilities unpatched. But let's not forget here, this is strictly educational. As I said, everything we have done today is about understanding the tools and the methods used by attackers so that we can better defend against them. But there's one way to defend that: if you uninstall these applications, right? And now you can use this knowledge responsibly. I don't take any risks, and always operate within the boundaries of the law and ethical guidelines. Now that's it for this lecture. Thank you for watching, and I'm waiting you in next lecture.